Welcome back to the Make Time for Success podcast. I'm Dr. Christine Lee, and this is episode number 137. Today, we're going to learn all about stress, hormones, diet, and what you can do. Very simple, pragmatic, effective steps for nurturing your health and your metabolism. I have on the show my very special guest, Deborah Jeann. She is a functional medicine health coach who specializes in women's hormones, and she's also the CEO of Deborah Jeann Wellness. She helps working moms reclaim their energy and vitality by balancing their hormones and healing their metabolism. She's passionate about helping women understand how their bodies work, why they have certain symptoms, and how they can use food as medicine and build sustainable lifestyle habits. I learned so many different mini lessons while recording this episode with Deborah. I hope you enjoy the episode and that you take away many lessons as well. Let's go listen to the episode together now. Hi, I'm Dr. Christine Lee, and I'm a psychologist and a procrastination coach. I've helped thousands of people move past procrastination and overwhelm so they could begin working to their potential. In this podcast, you're going to learn powerful strategies for getting your mind, body, and energy to work together so that you can focus on what's really important and accomplish the goals you want to achieve. When you start living within your full power, you're going to see how being productive can be easy and how you can create success on demand. Welcome to the Make Time for Success podcast. Hi there, everyone. Today, I have a special guest, Deborah Jeann, on the show. I am really looking forward to learning everything that she has to share with us today about women's health, stress, hormones, metabolism, and getting our health on our best track. Welcome to the show, Deborah.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's really an honor.
It's an honor to have you here today with us. Thank you for being here. Can you please get us started by telling us more about yourself and how you got to be interested in all things women's health?
Yes, sure. So I'm Deborah. I'm a functional medicine health coach, and I specialize in women's hormones. And mainly I work with working moms. I help them reclaim their energy and their vitality by balancing their hormones and restoring their metabolism. So how I got here was really a result of three passions of mine. So I've always been interested in health and wellness, in business, and in personal development. So the health and wellness interests was mainly because for over 12 years or even more now, I trained capoeira. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's Brazilian martial arts, and it's very intensive. So I was always curious about how I could optimize my nutrition, how I could condition my body to basically endure sort of those intense capoeira trainings. So that's how I got interested in the health piece. And I studied business management, and I'm passionate about business in general, about marketing, and especially about creative business models. And I'm also interested in personal development. I've devoured countless books, and I'm always learning something new, every day. So just as I was about to go on maternity leave in 2017, I stumbled into this health coaching certification, which basically combined the three passions of mine, like health and wellness, personal development, and then the business aspect. And so I enrolled in that, and I was basically mind blown by everything that I was learning in terms of gut health, the human microbiome. I learned over 100 different diets and sort of the pros and cons. And of course, I learned coaching skills, which was the core of the program. So after I finished this certification, I didn't quite feel ready to work with clients yet. So I decided to pursue functional medicine, which is basically a personalized method for getting to the root cause of symptoms and then restoring balance to the body. So in parallel to that, that's when I got into the online business coaching programs, and I got into different programs to basically help me set up my online business, my health coaching online business. And oh boy, this was like where my imposter syndrome like really got the best of me. And I procrastinated on actually launching my business for about 2 years. And I was literally doing a lot of busy work with no results for about 2 years. And then in the middle of 2020, like on top of COVID and everything else, I had like a major burnout from the demands of my 9-to-5 job, because I had a 9-to-5 job. And I was really like burned out from it. And basically I was in bed for 3 weeks. Just completely fried. And yes, this experience was really a turning point for me. And that's when I made the decision to prioritize my health. And what this meant was setting clear boundaries and focusing on my self-care, And it was really ironic that with everything that I knew and that I learned, I managed to get myself in this situation. So that's when I actually started using everything I knew to actually get myself out of it as well. But the excessive stress that my body went through completely trashed my hormones and my metabolism, and it really took me quite a while to recover from it. So basically, I gained a lot of weight, and I never had like problems like with weight, because as I said, I trained like intensely capoeira. So I gained weight. I had digestive problems. I was constantly exhausted. I had like weak hair and nails. I mean, you name it. And that's when I discovered this world of hormones and metabolism. And I really took a deep dive to really understand what was going on in my body and what I could do to feel better and feel like myself again. So I was really shocked as I started learning more and more. I was really shocked about how little as women we know about our body, and we are not taught things, or we are taught the wrong things instead. So I basically spent the last 2 years working with women one-to-one, basically to help them understand how the female physiology works, why they're having certain symptoms, and some nutrition and lifestyle habits that they could incorporate to start feeling better. So like in a nutshell, that's how I got here.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for sharing all of the backstory. I'm sure there are lots of mini stories in there too that we haven't covered, but I'm really looking forward to asking you different questions about your journey. Mm-hmm. I was listening to your story and thinking, oh, wow, I finally have a guest who doesn't have a negative experience along the way. But then you started talking about the burnout and the breakdown of the metabolism. And I'm sorry you had to go through that. And I'm really grateful to know that you're in full health afterwards, and that deepened your commitment to your study and to your interest in bodily healing and helping others heal as well. So I'm grateful to know that you're on the other side of that journey.
Yes. And I think for me it was having that experience of burnout. I mean, you hear about burnout, and I hear a lot about like women struggling with hormones, but actually experiencing it, it's like a whole different thing. And and it's something that I don't want to go back to, and I don't want anyone of my clients or anyone really to have that experience, because it's really not the best. But I'm actually glad that it happened, because as you said, actually like solidified like my commitment and what I'm here to do.
Okay, wonderful. May I ask, were there many symptoms leading up to the burnout?
Yes, they were. I was working a lot. So basically prior to COVID, I was in this position. I was covering for a colleague, but that was basically like 2 grades up. So I was doing a work that was above my grade. So I was working beyond my capabilities. And I think the thing is I did that for a long time. So yes, of course, that implied working long hours, not eating, not exercising. I mean, not taking care of myself. So yes, of course that happened. But of course, with COVID, like working from home. And then at the time, my son was about 2.5, 3 years old. So like the worst age to be locked with a kid. So yeah, it was myself and my husband and our son, and then the both of us working and all that stress that went, that we all know. So yes, there were signs and I didn't listen to them.
Gotcha. And it's interesting how, as I mentioned, that so many people who are healers and special guests of mine in particular, it seems, they have a deepening experience, an experience where all the negative factors are coming in and causing the body and the mind to be challenged. And I just wanted to point out to our listeners that if you happen to be in the midst of something like that, in the midst of a breakdown or a crisis or a slowdown, even, that to really take the time to heal, take the time to educate yourself, but also understand that there's so much that we can learn from these moments. And there's so much that you can benefit from because your body is telling you these things. Deborah, can you share with us what you've learned about the body's system and how the body takes care of us? Just any tips or strategies that you know, or anything that you think we really should tuck away and always remember?
Yeah. So when I work with my clients, so I focus on healing the metabolism, which is sort of the core of our work and our function. So when we talk about metabolism, a lot of people just think it's just about burning calories quickly. And it's a bit much more than that, actually. Because your metabolism is actually the sum of every metabolic process in your body. So this means how efficiently your body takes the nutrients from your food, from what you eat, and then turns them into energy or into heat. So your metabolism basically impacts every function that goes on in your body, from your digestion to your immune system to your reproduction, your hormones. And basically, if you're not able to convert your food into energy, like on a cellular level, so then that means that your cells don't get the proper nutrients and then they will not function properly. And of course, that in turn results in your hormones starting to get out of whack. So the goal actually that I try to teach to my clients is that you want to aim to have a high functioning metabolism, because that is what's going to give you health. So a high functioning metabolism generates energy and heat. So that's what you want to aim for. But unfortunately, many women, when they think of health, they are only aiming to have like a fit body with nice abs. And while that is nice to have, it is actually not a sign that you are healthy. So you can be the fittest woman on earth and you can still struggle with health, and especially hormonal health. So to be and feel healthy, it's important to have a high functioning metabolism. So we need to move away from prioritizing how we look to prioritizing how we function, because that's, in the end of it, that's what our body is asking of us. So our body is like it's like a machine, and its job is to keep us alive. And your body will do the weirdest things to actually keep you alive. And you might actually think that, oh my God, my body is against me. I can't seem to lose weight, to reproduce. But all of this little naggy things that your body is actually doing that to protect you, to keep you alive. So the main thing actually that your body needs is fuel, because it's a machine. It just needs you to eat properly, like the right combination of protein, fats, and protein and carbs, to be able to generate heat and energy so it can perform its function. So that's it. So this actually reminds me of a scene from The Matrix. I don't know if you remember.
I do.
Where they're having breakfast and they're eating like this, like very unappealing porridge. And then Neo asks, "So what is this?" And I think it's Bulldozer that replies, "So it's a single cell protein combined with synthetic aminos, vitamins, and minerals, everything that the body needs." Because exactly that's how your body views fuel. It doesn't necessarily care about gourmet food. It cares about everything like protein, fats, and carbs to make it function properly. So in terms of a few signs that we want to look at, instead of just focusing on our aesthetics, which, as I said, it's nice. So we want to sort of redefine health to having a high functioning metabolism. So a few signs that happen that you can start noticing when you have a high functioning metabolism is that first you get energy like all day throughout the day, inconsistent. It's not like you wake up groggy and then you have a cup of coffee and you're fine. And then in the middle of the day, you have that crash. No, you have like sort of steady energy throughout the day. You also start having like warm extremities, like your hands, your feet, your nose, instead of feeling cold all the time. So you also have like a strong immune system and you're not sick often. You also have like 1 to 2 daily bowel movements instead of like being constipated. You have like good digestion with no bloating, no gases. Also, a great sign of a healthy metabolism is like your sex drive and whether you are fertile. And not so often one that you might not know, but like peeing, you should be peeing only 4 to 5 times a day. So if you go into the bathroom like 10 to 12 times, then something's off with your metabolism. So you also experience like healthy hair, smooth skin, strong nails. You fall asleep easily. You have like deep uninterrupted sleep. You feel happy, positive instead of moody and always snappy, like with no patience, like around your kids. And you are able to maintain your weight easily without dieting or without excessive exercising. And like 2 critical points of a healthy metabolism is like first your body temperature. So when you have a healthy metabolism, your body temperature should be around 97.8 and 98.6 Fahrenheit.
Mm-hmm.
And your pulse rate should be between 75 to 90 beats per minute. So these 2 are really, really, really important to look for. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for listing all the ways we can see evidence of a healthy metabolism. And we can recognize if we're not quite there yet as well. What do you do with your clients to help them to see that they have the power to kind of improve the entire system and to improve the way their body serves them?
Yes. So the first step should be like awareness. So it's very important to know where you are at and whether your metabolism is slow or not. And then we take the next step, which is optimizing it. And I actually have a resource specifically to so you can find out whether your metabolism is slow or not. And we do this by tracking like your body temperature and your pulse rate through like a period of time. But then in terms of like optimizing your metabolism, I focus on 5 pillars. So the first one is managing stress. So stress has a very, very, very negative impact on your hormonal health, especially on your thyroid. And your thyroid is the one that is linked to your metabolism. So your thyroid and then your metabolism. So basically when you are stressed, whether physically, mentally, emotionally, you activate like your fight or flight response, and then your body secretes like stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. But you might not realize that you are stressed. This is because your body perceives things that you don't think are stressful. So things like not eating enough, not sleeping enough, low blood sugar, like over exercising, like a lot of cardio, like skipping breakfast or having like coffee on an empty stomach. These are small little things that we do like unintentionally because we're not aware, but really have an impact on our metabolism. So it's very, very important to make your body feel safe so it's not chronically stressed, because that is the number one thing that impacts your hormones. So the second one is balancing your blood sugar. So most people think that only people with diabetes should worry about their blood sugar, but that's not true. So basically when you eat things that spike your blood sugar, like refined carbs, say, like a bagel, your body like quickly spikes and then comes crashing down. And if you're not having like an optimal diet, you will do this quite often throughout the day. So the problem is actually having like these spikes and then crashes. So you don't want to have that, because that's also a stressor and that will increase your blood sugar. What you want to have, so when you eat, your blood sugar will spike, but you want it to spike slightly, like sort of a wave, and then come back, wave and come back, and not like this big, huge spikes up and down. So to do this, you want to eat meals that are balanced. Like all of your meals, from main meals to the snacks, need to be like a combination of fats, protein, and carbs. So the third piece is eating a nutrient-dense diet and eating enough. So women's bodies are very sensitive to scarcity. So if your body doesn't feel like it's getting enough, it will assume there is not enough food, and it will slow down your metabolism, basically to conserve energy. Okay, it's natural. We don't view it like that. Oh my God, my body's against me. No. It's keeping you alive. So, and also variety is very important, and making sure that you are getting like bioavailable forms of nutrients, and especially like protein. The fourth piece is your gut. So healing your gut is very, very important. So you are not what you eat. We've been told that for a long time. So you are what you eat, digest, and absorb. So it's really important that you are absorbing your nutrients and minerals and everything else. So if your gut is not functioning properly, you might eat the best diet, but if you're not absorbing that, then it doesn't count too much. So make sure that your digestion is working properly. And the final piece is decreasing your toxin exposure and loving up on your liver. So we are exposed to so many toxins in our environment that can interfere with like the normal function of our hormones. So this can either increase or decrease the production of hormones. So we need to aim to implement like a lifestyle or environmental changes that reduce the toxic burden and avoid that chemicals that disrupt hormones. And really making sure that we are supporting on our liver. I think it's one of the most important organs, because it basically transforms and removes any excess hormones from the body. It's really important that we make sure that it is functioning properly. So these are basically the 5 steps that I take my clients through. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. What a fantastic list and very helpful. I wanted to comment on number 4 about the gut. Is our diet the primary way of strengthening our gut?
Yes, not only the diet, but also a lot of lifestyle factors. Like, for example, one critical thing and simple thing that I start my clients off with is because we are working on improving our digestion. And our digestion actually starts in the brain and then in the mouth. So actually, when you chew food, so you need to make sure that you are chewing it appropriately. So just this, if you make sure that you are chewing like 20 to 30 times and your food is like all mushy and not undigested particles, so that already helps quite a lot in terms of your digestion. So it's not only what you eat, it's how you are eating. So that one advice is the major one. Make sure that you're chewing your food. The other one is make sure that you're eating when you are eating, you are not distracted. So you're eating in a calm environment and you take the time and you're not in a stressed state, because if you are eating in a stressed state, you basically suppress your digestive enzymes, and then you will not digest your food. So all of this, they are little sort of habits that you need to also develop that will help you with your digestion. It's not only about the food. Yes.
Yeah, lovely. I'm also thinking, as I'm listening to you and learning from you, that stress is such a common factor, or such an opponent that we really have to keep our eyes open to the ways in which stress creeps into our everyday. It could be a tech issue. It could be a parenting issue. It could be I feel like I'm starving issue. They can be small stressors, but they can really build if we don't protect ourselves and really nurture our calmer way of being. Is that how you see things as well?
Yes, it is. Stress is really critical. So as I said, that there are the things that we know, but then it's the things that we don't know. And how basically when you start to understand how your body thinks or interprets stress, so that's really important. So it's the stresses that we don't know about. Like, for example, if you are eating like a diet that you are sensitive, you have food sensitivities, and you're eating food that that causes inflammation in your body, that is a stressor, but it's like a physiological stress. You don't see it, but your body is dealing with it. And actually, the problem is that those sorts of stress become chronic, because it can take a long time until you find out that you are sensitive to something, and until you actually take care of it and resolve that, your body is going to be dealing with that quite a lot. The other one that I want to mention, especially for women, so we have this thing about like demonizing carbs, eating low-fat carbs, and etc. But actually, our metabolism prefers carbs as fuel. So when I talk about carbs, of course, I'm not talking about refined carbs like pasta and bacon, not that, like potato and rice and vegetables. So your body actually prefers carbs as their fuel. So if you're not giving carbs, so if you're not eating carbs and giving your body the preferred fuel that it needs, your body will, in the spirit of keeping you alive, will actually break down parts of your body to produce glucose, which is what it gets from carbs. So if you're not feeding it carbs, it will raise cortisol and will break your body down to actually produce what it needs. So in the end, long term, of course, this is not very efficient. That's when we start having lots of issues in the end, especially with our hormones.
Okay. Thank you so much for this education. I want our audience to know that you might not realize this, but Deborah has just given us years of education summarized in just about 25 minutes. So Deborah, I want to thank you for being so generous and so wise and knowledgeable, and for being just really wonderful in coming here and sharing with us all of this wonderful information. It can be a really wonderful beginning, or maybe even a middle part of our listeners' process for really optimizing their health and well-beings, right? So it's not just about fitness. Fitness is a part of great health, but there's also all of these wonderful ways that we can support our bodies in supporting ourselves. So thank you, Deborah. You're doing amazing, amazing work. You're a fantastic teacher. I just wanted to give you that feedback as well. I hope you know that already.
Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be sharing all of this here.
Okay, great. You mentioned a sheet that you have for our audience, perhaps to share. Can you describe that document for us?
Yeah, so basically it's a 3-step process for you to assess whether you have a slow metabolism or not. So, and you do this by using two simple things that you might have in your house, or if you're not, you can easily buy, which is a thermometer and like an oximeter. So basically you're going to be tracking like your temperature and your pulse rate to assess whether your metabolism is slow or not. So it's really a nice practical guide. And it also then, helps you interpret the results that you get. But this exercise will give so much insight in terms of how your body is behaving. So I really hope it is helpful, and you can learn a lot from it.
Okay, terrific. Thank you for sharing that as well. We have collaborated to make a URL for that download, and we've decided it's going to be maketimeforsuccesspodcast.com/metabolism. Again, maketimeforsuccesspodcast.com/metabolism. Deborah, can you also tell us how people can stay in touch with you, perhaps social media or your website or both?
Yeah, so I am mainly on Instagram. So you can, just come to my Instagram page, or just give me a shout out in my DMs.
Okay, terrific. Could you give us the Instagram handle, please?
Yeah, so it's Deborah.Jeann with two N's.
Okay, it's Jeann. Yes, wonderful.
Yes.
I want to absolutely support our listeners going to follow Deborah Jeann's Instagram. I have learned a lot just from these little squares on social media in her account. So she provides a lot of factual knowledge, a lot of tips and ways of thinking about what you can do for yourself and things to look out for. So I definitely want to support you all staying connected with Deborah. Deborah, I plan on staying connected with you. I plan on getting your metabolism download. And I want to thank you again for being here and sharing your wonderfulness with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a really pleasure and really nice chatting with you.
Terrific. I had a pleasure as well. Thank you so much. Everyone, take this information, run with it, and also live as stress-free as you possibly can arrange. I'm looking forward to hearing about your progress. Deborah is too, I'm sure. Thank you all for joining us today. See you next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Make Time for Success podcast. If you enjoyed what you've heard, you can subscribe to make sure you get notified of upcoming episodes. You can also visit our website, maketimeforsuccesspodcast.com, for past episodes, show notes, and all the resources we mention on the show. Feel free to connect with me over on Instagram too. You can find me there under the name Procrastination Coach. Send me a DM and let me know what your thoughts are about the episodes you've been listening to. And let me know any topics that you might like me to talk about on the show. I'd love to hear all about how you're making time for success. Talk to you soon.